Hello and welcome back to another part of What If Luffy Was Never Born. And, well, you might guess from the title that I'm talking about the current manga adventures or chapters, but that's not the case. We're still going on strong with what if Moria was basically the main character, so let's first start things off here. Last week we finished off with the people in the... I think it was Moria and Hyogoro in the prison, and they fought against different people. Moria is about to learn more about advanced armament haki, and he's discovering more and more things about like himself and these other things. But today we're going to look at a different side, because today we're going to start at Absalom and Law, who reach Abisu Town. First of all, they hear at the place that the character Komurasaki died. She got killed by Kyoshiro, I think was his name, and they also meet Tonoyasu in that town. Yasu reveals to them that Ryuma is chasing after a thief that stole his sword Shusui, so that's where Ryuma is currently at, and Tonoyasu is there back at Ibisu town and is there with the others, and he joined up with Absalom and Law for some reason, even though they have no idea who that guy is, which is quite weird. So Perona, Sindri, and Shinobu go to the bathhouse. Shinobu talks about Hyogoro, like him being the leader of the Yakuza some time ago, but she believes that he's already dead, so he sadly can't be an ally, and with that it's going to be harder to get the other Yakuza bosses to like cooperate with them to become allies for the raid on Kaido. And then they just wash themselves for a bit here and there, and then Hawkins and Drake raid the bathhouse to check for the crescent moon emblems on the ankles of the people. You all remember that part of the series. So while this is happening, Perona tries to hide behind Shinobu because Perona is, from the people here with Perona, Shinobu, and Sindri, she's the one who is probably the most known visually, so she needs to hide herself. And Drake spots her and accidentally removes her towel. We all remember that scene, and we all know what's going to happen. So Hawkins is actually quite innocent and blushes and all these things, and normally he would be Sanji, but we have our own pervert in this crew. So Absalom, his invisibility ability basically turns off because he gets caught off guard by Perona basically being stripped. So it's just a giant noseblade, and he basically gives a thumbs up and says something like, "You've grown nice, princess." Like, I think Absalom never saw Perona as like a woman in that sense, because she was quite young pre-time skip, and now there's post-time skip, and we all know how the character's grown. Like, especially female characters have grown over the time skip. So, Absalom doesn't see her as a form of attraction in the sense that he wants to get her and make her like his, but he's just like, "Damn, you've grown nice, girl." And after that, obviously Hawkins and Drake recognize him, and before they can even get there and catch him, he basically grabs the three ladies, even though they are only in their towels and Perona is naked right now. He grabs them, turns all of them invisible, and just jumps away. On the way out, he tells them about that Orochi knows about their plan and all of these things, like the secret message Kinemon has planned. He knows about the Kozuki ankle tattoo, that the people with the ankle tattoo are supporters of the Kozuki family, and he also informs them that Law's crewmates have been captured. So there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't see like firsthand, but we experience it through being explained these things and getting the information, because if we see everything, I think like we would be in Wano for the next 10 years. So, meanwhile, we see Ryuma, who is after the sword thief. It's the warrior monk called Yukimaru, if you remember him. And until they reach Ringo, and Yukimaru places the sword at the grave. He just chases after him, and Yukimaru makes no, tries to attack him or anything. The grave where Yukimaru places down Shusui is actually the grave of Shimotsuki Ryuma, which Moria actually, got the corpse of Ryuma from, a few decades ago. I think it was it before the fight against Odin, or was it after? Was it before Odin died or after Odin died? I'm not sure, but it's probably between 10 and 20 years ago that he got the corpse from, I think. I'm not so sure, but it's been a good chunk of time. So I would expect a scene here where Ryuma goes on one knee, just slowly going on the ground and picking up the sword again, and then looking at Yukimaru and thinking to him so you are a member of my family. Because Here we would get a Ryuma flashback to some time with his family, and the corpse remembering more about its part. So unlike Zoro, Ryuma doesn't fight against Kukimaru, so he can react a bit faster when Komurasaki and Toko appear at... Toko? Yeah, I think it's Toko. They appear there and are being chased by Kamazo the Manslayer. So here we have the short clash between Kamazo and Ryuma, or Zoro and Ryuma in the canon. So obviously they fight against each other, and we learn that Kamazo is actually an assassin sent by Orochi to kill Toko for the disrespect she did at the banquet. And that's also the reason why he's there. We don't know who's Kamazo's real identity. So Ryuma is there, and he's not entirely focused on the battle, as the memories of his past life, or not necessarily his past life, the memories of time when he was alive are just still on his mind. Before he just knew what others told him about, like the legends of Ryuma. He was the sword god and the protector and hero of Wano. He was there for the golden generation and all these different stories he heard. But this time, he felt more than just a sense of duty and the pride of a samurai that is very deep embedded into his body. He also saw the silhouettes of his already deceased family. He saw them back when he was alive, and he just remembers a few things here. So during this time, Kamazo manages to pierce Ryuma through the shoulder with one of his scythes, but he doesn't manage to pull it out again and basically retreats a few steps. The reason why he can't pull it out is because Ryuma just, as he gets pierced through the shoulder, maybe he's getting a quick from being hurt or something, and then he just hardens this place with his armament haki so it can't be pulled out anymore, and because he's a corpse, this thing is also getting stuck in his body and then Kamazo retreats a few steps. So Ryuma pulls out the scythe and dual wields it together with Shusui. So with the two blade weapons now, he can actually start doing something he hasn't done before, because he was always just wielding one blade. So in his stars he starts mumbling, "Let me borrow your style, young samurai." So unbeknownst to him, he envelops the two blades in Ryo, the advanced armament haki, because Ryuma obviously knew these things. Ryuma had all these things, but as he was like the corpse, kind of needed to relearn those things, but because he already knew them once, the body has I think the body has more of experience with that, and it's easier to get them back. It's like Moria, who was strong before, then got fat and is strong again. He obviously still knows how it goes when he is strong like that. So Ryuma basically envelops both his swords in the advanced armament haki and then uses one of Odin's techniques. So these techniques does he know because he has Kinemon's shadow. Kinemon's shadow is in him, so he knows how Odin fought, he knows Odin's two-sword style, and he basically uses this attack called Gan Modoki. So he charges forward while crossing the two swords and basically just slices Kamazo, who I think falls unconscious here. We all know he's not dying, but he just slices him, and he's basically just drops down there, and this is the time where Kamazo is down and Ryuma just walks up to the lady who escaped from Kamazo, to the two ladies, Toko and Komurasaki. He walks up to them and just looks at them. Just imagine the menacing look from a corpse, looking so pale and just having no life in it, and then the eye sockets empty with no real pupils or anything, and then he just walks up there and falls unconscious himself. Later on, Ryuma walks up in a house in the north cemetery of Ringo. There is Komurasaki, who took care of him, and well, as best as she can take care of a zombie at least. So she also reveals that she's actually Momo's younger sister, Hiyori, and also says that her savior isn't looking as pale as he was before. So Ryuma is looking a bit better, I guess. So she talks to Ryuma about Orochi, his actions against the Kozuki clan, and her years in Wano where everyone was gone. Only she and Kawamatsu stayed together, and Kawamatsu took care of her for some time, until he got imprisoned, probably. And then she started working as Komurasaki. That's the most reasonable thing. So Ryuma thinks about what the rest of the Alliance is currently doing. But, well, for now, he actually wants Hiyori to explain more, to jog his memory about the past of Wano, about the things of Kozuki Oden, the ancestors of Kozuki Oden, maybe even all the past back to the Shimotsuki family and more about Ryuma himself, just learning more about this body that he's slowly getting more used to. So in another part of Wano, Kinemon's group learned about Orochi discovering the secret message, the meaning of the hidden message, and because of that, hundreds of prisoners hundreds of Kozuki supporters got imprisoned. They got imprisoned there, and Kinemon discusses the situation with everyone, but at one moment, he suddenly just stops talking in mid-sentence and just is there and looks like his eyes expand, and he's just looks like confused and weirded out. So he touches his head and is like, what just happened? Why did I feel that weird sensation just now? So people just look hella confused at him, but afterwards they just continue talking like normally. They first for a second, I think, take care of Kinemon, thinking like, is everything okay? Are you overworking yourself? Maybe strategizing is too much for you right now. And afterwards he's just like, I'm good again. Nothing too bad happened. I just felt this weird sensation just now. So people look confused, but it just continues like normal. And there it is Shinobu who accuses Law's crewmates of talking after being captured, which in turn just makes Law very angry about it, because he states that his crewmates would never do that. He believes in them. They would rather die probably than like reveal the secrets and the plan that he worked on together with all the people here. So he ends that and just leaves in anger. He's just very angry that the people he worked together with, I mean, Shinobu and him didn't have too much to do together, but just that an ally would state these things makes him so angry that he just leaves the discussion and goes out there to save his crewmates. And while this is going on, Yasu is also there and just goes up to Shinobu and the others and ensures them that he will join them in the battle. Just talking in a very familiar tone, like they knew each other for a very long time, but nobody recognizes him yet. So all the people know is that he uses most of his money to support others, and he's kind of known as the saint of the townspeople. So Yasu, or Tonoyasu, is like kind of a hero, but he's just doing his best. The money Toko earned and sends to him, he uses to help the others. He does other things to help the people, like stay happy and don't lose all hope in the world, and these different things he's doing. So back in prison, we just see Moria knocking out opponents over opponents until basically night arrives. So night falls and the remaining guards just get knocked out by a wave of Dread and Conqueror's Haki, so that Moria has some time for himself with Hyogoro and the others. While they are knocked out and nobody's there to watch them, Raizo and Karibu go to Moria and Hyogoro. The keys that Raizo actually got were for Karibu's handcuffs, seastone handcuffs, and not for Moria's, so Moria looks at him like, yeah, okay, you promised me that these would be my keys, not the keys of the other guy. So, I don't know, Raizo, maybe you're not the best ninja out there. So, but obviously Moria's also like already got rid of his handcuffs because they wanted him to give a fair chance at fighting. So, there it is. The two of them give Moria and Hyogoro, who are very exhausted about after like fighting for this long of a time against many different people, still being exhausted from having the seastone handcuffs on Moria for such a long time, then practicing his Haki abilities to learn more about the advanced armament Haki. All these things just exhausted him more than it normally would be just fighting against these small-time pirates. So basically they get the queen's personal Oshiroko stash, which they both eat until both turn fat. Well, Moria looks at himself when he just suddenly sees his belly increasing in size and size and more size. He just looks at him as actually, I think it would be funny if there's like a single tear dropping down from Moria's face, just like, oh, I'm back in this form now. But Moria is confident that he just needs to train off all the food, and this time it will go way faster because he was already back in shape once, so he now can return back. I guess because he's a bit older than Luffy, his like metabolism is a bit slower, meaning it's a bit harder for him to lose weight, and it's also a reason why Luffy can lose all the weight and food that he eats so fast after just a few forms of exercise. Just think about like Whiskey Peak, where he ate that much and then he just fought against Zoro for a second and suddenly he's all thin again. It's always said that younger people have a better metabolism and they can like get rid of unnecessary weight more easily. So Moria loses his weight a bit slower than Luffy, but he's just still like working out all night, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, doing like a few armament Haki exercises until he's not as fat as he was after just eating, but he's still not back in his completely fit form. He basically is, well, I guess next morning Queen sees fat Moria, or could call him normal Moria because, like, Moria was fat at the beginning, so is it normal Moria? Or is fit Moria now the normal Moria? But anyways, Queen sees them and the subordinates are too scared to tell him that those two actually ate his personal, like, stash of Oshiroku. So Queen doesn't know that, he just sees Moria and thinks like, damn, this dude got fat. And it's like, now you won't be as popular as me anymore. So in the flower capital, Orochi got informed about the capture of the thief, like the thief called Ushimitsu Kozo, and orders like his immediate execution. Ushimitsu Kozo is like a figure of a Robin Hood figure. He stole from the rich and gave it to the poor, and he's just going around doing all these things. And while it's going on, Brook finds Ruma, Hyori, and Toko just talking to each other, and he tells them about the situation with Kozo, who is actually Tonoyasu. So because of that, Toko runs off instantly, because Toko is the daughter of Tonoyasu. So she runs off to save her father, and Ryuma and Hyori follow them instantly. Which is something I found confusing, because Ryuma and Hyori, or Zoro and Hyori, would have chased Toko instantly here. But Brook didn't chase her? Am I remembering this like incorrectly? But I feel like Brook just dipped out there, like, yo, they're about to kill Tonoyasu, do the job there, I'm out of here. And he just runs away or something, I don't know. Yo! So he tells them, and I would just say he goes with them. I don't remember if he's doing anything different, so I'm just going there, and if he needs to be somewhere else in the story, we can work it out. So basically just follow him, and there we have Shinobu and Kanjuro watching the broadcast, and they finally recognize them. They see Tonoyasu at the crucifixion, just being there, smiling at the people. And they finally recognize Ushimitsu Kozo was a disguise for Tonoyasu, and Tonoyasu is actually just a disguise for him being Shimotsuki Yasuye. So Wano has so many fake identities. What the fuck was Oda thinking here? Like, we have Ushimitsu Kozo, who is actually Tonoyasu, who is actually Shimotsuki Yasui. We have Komurasaki, who is actually Hyori. We have Yukimaru, who is actually Onimaru, the fox. We have Ashura Doji, who was hiding. We have who else do we have? We have Kyoshiro, who's actually Denjiro. We have so many people doing different fake identities, holy hell. Anyways, Yasui past with Oden and like the Scabbards gets shown a bit here, because it's only a tiny peek into their past together, because we still have the Oden flashback coming up in Act 3, I think. So we also see here, we get a bit flashback over to, not flashback, we see currently that at another point of this island, Hold'em sets fire to Mount Atama to get revenge on the current series of thefts that Kinemon and all the other peoples basically did on Kaido's crew. And this is the point where Ashura Doji, together with his men, like the mountain bandits he's leading, goes to attack Bakura Town. And on the other side, we also have Kinemon and Inuarashi racing over to the same town to intercept them and talk with Ashura Doji and finally make them, like him, join their alliance. And now we see Yasuye. While being crucified, he reveals that he's not actually Ushimitsu Kozo. So obviously he's not Ushimitsu Kozo or Tonoyasu, because it's actually Yasuye. I think Ushimitsu Kozo is actually Kyoshiro, who's actually Denjiro. So actually it's Luffy, who's actually Joy Boy, who is actually this other thing, who might actually be also someone else. So many fake outs, holy shit. Anyway, he says he's not actually Ushimitsu Kozo, and he only said to be this character because he wanted attention and just wanted to get a public execution because he has enough of this life and doesn't want to do it anymore. He just wants to make himself out to be a clown, to make the guy who captured him, our boy Orochi, even more of a like paranoid, weird person. He realized that the message sent out about the Kozuki family was just a prank from him because he wanted the attention of everybody. He wanted to scare Orochi because Orochi is like all weird about it and just still thinking about the prophecy of Toki and just like 20 years 9 shadows are going to come, blah blah blah, I'm Orochi, yeah. And he's just like, Orochi is such a baby just thinking about these things, and he's just making fun of him. So Orochi's subordinates kind of agree with Tonoyasu here, or with Yasui here, because they always doubted Orochi for some stuff and are starting to doubt him again here, because Orochi is just so so bad in this case, and they don't trust him in these parts. But this is probably just another part of his idiotic act because of all of his paranoia things, and they don't know how to handle that. Enraged because of all of that, basically Orochi starts to say, execute that person, and starts with the first shot. He starts with his shot with the gun, and the subordinates who are there, I guess they don't hesitate, but they first see Orochi shooting and then hear him saying these things, and then they all shoot together, basically killing Yasue. He dies, he smiles, and that's it. Obviously, here we achieved what he wanted and helped the alliance one last time. Because of all of that, Yasue falls to ground, dead, everybody starts laughing, making Yuma, who just arrived, very furious. But let's go to something else here. Yasue wanted to do all of this just to help the alliance, to not make them think that Orochi is actually like right about something. He makes them think that, oh, there is not going to be a raid, nobody is going to attack Kaido, everything is going to be fine, there is no war in Ba Sing Se, everything's just fine. And also like different locations to meet with each other, all these things got worked out because Yasue like sacrificed himself here. And now we see Ryuma, who we actually see his eyes here. Normally he has just these black eye sockets because he's a corpse and doesn't have eyes anymore. But in this case, I think this would be a very nice moment for the first time ever to see these classic enraged eyes that you see in One Piece, where it's just the small dot with a circle, a black circle outside of them, just looking enraged, just expanding the pupils and the eyes, just looking very furious and angry. Just looks at them, and for the first time Hiri sees his eyes as well. And he just basically starts talking to himself, or thinking to himself, just, wasn't this man a saint to you? He was one of my descendants. How dare this snake of a shogun change my beloved Wano like this? Yuma didn't know that Yasue was a descendant until everybody else talked that he's Shimosuke Yasue. He didn't know it, he just thought he was some random guy. But now he knows, this guy, I don't know if he's a direct descendant of me, but he somehow is connected to me. He's family. And he died before me. Hiri reveals that the people can't do anything for it. They're smiling and laughing. Actually, the devil fruits cause smiles doing that. And this is the first time that Yuma and the other people learn about these things. That their smiles make them only express joy, even though they are probably crying inside about Yasue being dead. Several other Strawhat Pirates and Kinemon also hear about that for the first time here, which just makes their reaction even more sour, just being angry about what happened to Wano because of Kaido and Orochi. So Toko rushes in there, trying to save her father with actually she got some fake ointment. Normally she got that from Usopp, who is actually just selling fake stuff, but this is a bit more complicated, because this fake stuff is something she basically got from Hawkback, but she didn't get from Hawkback. Hawkback didn't sell fake stuff to people he thought were nice or might be like help them in the future or didn't do anything bad. He would have sold some real ointment to Toko, but this fake ointment is something he sold to some weird as fuck that just wanted to mess him up, and he's like, oh yeah, here, take this ointment, it cures every wound, just put it on the wound. So this guy took it and just resold it for an even more expensive price. Just think of resellers, like with the PS5s and everything. And Toko bought that, just think like, oh, I can give this to my father, or I can use that if I get hurt or something. But it's fake ointment. Hawkback is not here, so he doesn't see that. But everybody else knows that this is something that Hawkback made, and they just think like, no, Toko, this won't work, don't do this, don't make yourself more sad than you already are. So at this point, Orochi looks at the entire situation and prepares to shoot the young girl. However, Absalom and Ryuma basically rush in there and protect her from the shots. Ryuma embraces Toko, thinking like, if Toko is the actual daughter, or even if she's just the adopted daughter of Yasue, she's also a member of my family. I mean, Zoro also kind of could say he has a connection to her, because he looks so much like Shimosuke Oshimaru and these things, but it's not confirmed that Zoro is actually a member of the Shimosuke family, but we just highly make theories about that, I guess. Anyways, Yuma is actually a family member, and he has a connection to her, so he will protect her if it's the last thing he has to do. And Absalom looks at Yuma. He just looks down at him. he doesn't have the similar situation here that he's like the rival to Ryuma, like Sanji with Zoro and these things. He just looks at him and says something to him like that. Something about you changed, General Zombie Ryuma. Ryuma is just a zombie of the crew. He's not like something too special. He's just some sort of general zombie, the same rank as John or the others. But because he is Ryuma, apparently like probably one of the strongest corpses Moria ever had, he just grew in strength over and over again. Getting different shadows of different swordsmen. Currently having Kinemon's shadow, or yeah, well. So obviously something changed about him, is that Absalom says, and he just looks at him. He looks a bit different. Like he still has this gray hair, but his pupils are a bit there, and he looks a bit less pale. He just looks a bit more alive. But now Ryuma sends out a flying slash at Orochi and basically attacks him, thinking like, this needs to end. This person needs to die. He not only killed one of my ancestors, Yasue, he also wanted to murder his daughter, Toko, and he did all of this to Wano. I will murder this person. But this slash, like this flying slash, gets blocked by Kyoshiro, and Absalom then gets attacked by Drake. So there's this clash between, a short clash, it's not really a big battle between Ryuma and Kyoshiro and Absalom and Drake. So Perona and Sindri, who are also there, get also attacked by some subordinates of Orochi, but those just get negative hollowed and it's over. So a short time later, the Orochi Oniwabanshu, or this scrub team, I guess, joins, and they fight, seeking to capture at least one of the Strawhat Pirates. But this is not too problematic here because Perona can take care of them. Meanwhile, Law infiltrates the prison where his crewmates are kept, and he gets confronted by Hawkins. Just having this short confrontation, talking about each other, that Law is going to kill him. But Hawkins basically reveals his cards immediately. He just says, well, my life is tied to those of your captured crewmates. So if you want to defeat me, you first need to kill all of your crew members. And Law is just like, oh, I need to do what now? Well, Law has his ways around that, and we will see that in another part here. But the last thing we see before we go to the to be continued stream is just Ryuma's face. Furious against Orochi and Kaido, and a glare coming from his eyes. Like, you know the anime things where they just turn their head fast, and then you have this line of glare coming off their eyes. Like it goes a bit like these movement lines. So there's like this red-blue glare coming out of his eyes, just moving his head fast and then looking at Orochi, just thinking like, I will murder you one day. And then we have these things happening elsewhere. But this is already enough for this part of the video. So all I have to say, thank you for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed another part of What If Luffy Was Never Born. And we will see each other again in the next video on Thursday. Until then, I hope you take care of yourself and stay fresh, stay cultured, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hot. Pyro out.